Hi, Alana Fravel here, lifestyle and wellness speaker and educator. And today we are going to talk about meat prep. I didn't say that wrong. Not just meal prep, we're talking about meat prep. And the reason that I am yelling at you about meat prep is because it has been such a game changer for me. I had a goal that I wanted meal prep to be easier. I know that I'm not going to be able to eat out a ton of places when I want to eat really clean, healthy food. And I know that I'm not going to want to pay grocery store prices for pre-made food all the time. So I know that I have to meal prep, but gosh darn it, I needed it to be easier. So I thought, what is the most difficult process for meal prepping? What takes the longest? What's the messiest? And it was the meat. It was the protein. And so I found some ways to make it super easy, super fast, and make sure that I always have access to clean, healthy protein, because that is really the fundamentals of a healthy meal. So this afternoon, I'm going to talk about the proteins that I chose, the seasonings that I chose, and our cooking methods. And I'm going to give you some tips along the way. We're going to start with the cooking method. You've probably seen some recipes for sheet pan cooking where people do like a one tray meal. What's great about using a stainless steel tray is they're super easy to clean. You can scrub the heck out of them. And that's important too if we're looking at like nonstick pans. Over time, that coating can chip and get into your food. And most nonstick coatings are toxic and they're really hard on the environment. So I have two sizes. I have a quarter size and I have a half size. And the reason I like the quarter size is because sometimes I'm dealing with some smaller portions of protein and I don't necessarily want to have to dirty a big old pan. And then I can also fit more kinds of protein in the oven because two of these equal one of these. I can work with different kinds of protein at the same time and fit it all in the oven because I want to minimize my steps when I'm meal prepping or meat prepping. That's our base, right? We got to get food on a pan. We got to get it in a cooking method. So I got my oven behind me here. That's what we're going to cook with today. And then we're going to talk about protein. So I've got some local ground beef here. I buy local when I can. This from a half a cow we got. So I don't think most people think about putting a bunch of ground beef on a sheet pan and cooking it up. But the benefit of that is when we spread it thin, it cooks fast. We can get a ton of seasoning on it. And when you're done, you can kind of chop it up and portion it out into individual portions. And we have saved the grease splatter on the stove top, which is great. So that's how we're gonna cook our ground beef. I also have these chicken tenders, the little chicken tendies, the little slices. I don't normally buy these, but they were on sale. And that's another thing to kind of think about, like when you're meat prepping, whatever day a week that is, it's advisable or preferable if we minimize the times that we like thaw and freeze our proteins. Most of the protein that's at the grocery store has, unless it says it's never been frozen, has actually been frozen once already. So I want to kind of minimize that back and forth process because over time it can make the texture of the meat weird. So I will coordinate my meat prep days with grocery shopping. So those little chicken tendies were on sale. Normally when stuff's cut smaller, it's more expensive because it has more labor in it, but they were on sale. I'm gonna roll with them. What's nice is because they're a smaller surface area to portion of meat, we're gonna be able to get a ton of seasoning on those, making them taste really yummy. I also have some trout here. Most of us need to eat some fatty fish at least a few times a week in our diet. So I've got trout today. And typically, whenever I can, I try to buy high quality seafood from somewhere like Thrive Market or a local health food store that doesn't have color added and that is, if possible at all, not factory farmed because of the way those animals are treated and the different feeds and stuff they give them. Then I also have some chicken breast here. I think a lot of people feel like chicken breasts get dried out and it is the ick of the chicken family. Like nobody wants to be cooking a chicken breast, but the key is to season the heck out of them. And we might do a little bit of browning at the end on the oven. So next we're going to talk about seasonings. When you're looking at seasonings to bring in your kitchen, if we're talking about clean, healthy foods, a lot of seasoning blends have anti-caking agents or sugar in them or other chemicals. I would encourage you to try to find spices that you understand all the ingredients on the label. So that's why I was kind of surprised when my husband found this brand on the internet and brought it home. Most bulk seasonings like this, they're adding some cheap ingredients to get them to market cheaply. But this is pretty cool. So, no sugar, no MSG, gluten free, non GMO. We have garlic, sea salt, onion, parsley, lemon peel, orange peel, cayenne pepper, ready to go. So, seasoning blends are it's like, I'm a chef and I use seasoning blends in my kitchen. You know why? Because somebody at some food company went ahead and did the research about the perfect portions of everything coming together. So that's one thing I hear a lot about people that gets in their way for healthy cooking is they feel like they are just eating the same stuff over and over again. When I travel or I go to a new town, I don't bring home stuff to my house. A lot of times I'll find a fun spice shop or a local shop, and you would be surprised at how many like seasoning blends you can come across because most areas like sort of have their own cooking flair. So just little things like that. There's a local spice shop in like a historic town near me. I love to go there and find things. Even like from two different farmers markets in my areas. There's this one lady who does her own in these little tubs. And then another guy, Chef James, who has had his stuff bottled and labeled and packaged. And he's got like a Missouri grown label on it, which is kind of cool. So the next thing is like these are from Thrive Market and they are super affordable. And again, super clean ingredients because they come from Thrive Market. They do organic whenever they can and everything is non GMO. Also, love a seasoning packet. There ain't nothing wrong with the seasoning packet. So, one of my hacks when I go to put all this protein on the tray is using seasoning blends with contrasting colors, and I'm going to use two of them. And the reason why is because we don't want to be getting tired of our food throughout the week. Then it just feels like we're on a diet. That's another thing I hear from people is they feel like when they're meal prepping, it is diet food. And we want to keep the food exciting throughout the week. So I'll put two different seasoning blends and I will use two different colors so I can tell them apart. So after the protein is cooked, I know what's what when chopping it up and portioning it out. I will change the seasonings from week to week. So like this week, my chicken tendies might be the hot chipotle and we have our original. Next week, I might do a taco seasoning or a kick it up chicken or a Cajun or a Jamaican seasoning. And that is one way to kind of keep food exciting. So the next step, the next video that you're going to see is putting the proteins on the pan, seasoning them, getting them cooked off, and then showing you how to prep and portion them out so that you can have access to clean, healthy protein for weeks to come.